help fight the cash ban in person. Let's have a look. Good morning, everyone. Florian Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I've got my morning coffee, just a small one, and I thought we'd have a look at an update from the Senate hearing in the currency restrictions on the use of cash bill provisions. Now, if you go down here, you can see they are now planning to have a public hearing. The committee has agreed to hold a public hearing on Thursday, the 30th of January, in 9 days, at the Portside Centre in Sydney. For those wishing to attend the public hearing in person, the Portside Sydney is located at 207 Kent Street, Sydney, New South Wales, 2000. Now, for those of you that are not familiar, the Australian government is trying to push through a restriction on the use of cash, essentially criminalising the payment of $10,000 or above in cash to any business that has an ABN. And frankly, while there's not many instances when people are even bothering to use $10,000 cash to do that, the argument is that it will address the black economy. There is no evidence, no real evidence, just anecdotal evidence used to justify this. I am really disgusted that they are looking to restrict one of our fundamental freedoms. I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've used $10,000 cash to pay for something. It's not something a lot of people do, but regardless, we should still have the right to do it. So now they have a public hearing, and it's a good opportunity for those of you that are opposed to this and are in Sydney to go and just make yourself known, just by numbers. If they have a lot of people turning up there, even if they see a crowded room of people that are concerned, that will have to be persuasive. How many people would you normally get to one of these public hearings? I can honestly say this is the first time I've ever taken this much interest in a Senate committee or hearing. Maybe I'm just getting old, and I'm becoming of that age now when you write angry letters to the editor. So guys, that's it here. We'll have a look at a few other things just quickly, and I'll just jump here. And this is where the Portside Conference Centre is in Sydney. I mean, it's a conference centre right in the heart of Sydney. So for all of you Sydneyites, it's a great opportunity for you to go there. It's probably a little too hard for me to get there with a pregnant wife and 4 children. I suggested it to her, and as much as I would enjoy a day of peace away from the family, she'd probably kill me, guys. so yes. But all of you in Sydney, guys, what does it take to go and check it out? Hang on, what day is it's a Thursday. Okay, so Thursday, I'm in there. Take some time off lunch, get in there, get in early, take a day off work. So that's the location, guys. And what I would also like to draw your attention to, and this is a video put together by Robbie Berwick from the CEC. And this is where he's gotten, 5-minute short video where they've gotten all of the, how should we say, spicy tidbits from the Senate hearing that was published, and put it all together in a short 5-minute piece. Now, he told me he did this thanks to the magical power of jet lag. He went over to Europe for a holiday, saw some family, came back, and he couldn't sleep. So he thought, what the hell? Rather than doing something sensible and relaxing, he decided to edit this together. And I think it's fantastic. I think he's done a really good job. And he said I could show it to you all here. I'll link to their original if you want to share that with anyone else any politicians It's only 5 minutes. It can't hurt. And it just really shows so clearly where the evidence or lack thereof is coming from. Because you kind of hope these politicians are making these decisions based on rational, scientific processes. But I guess it's just naive, isn't it? So let's have a watch.
What is the evidence of the need for Scott Morrison's $10,000 cash ban? The Morrison government claims its currency restrictions on the use of cash bill is necessary to combat tax evasion and money laundering in the black economy. On the 12th of December, the Senate Economics Legislation Committee held a public hearing in Canberra. Labor Senator Alex Gallagher and Centre Alliance Senator Rex Patrick tried to find out if there was any actual evidence for this. The Small Business Ombudsman didn't see the evidence.
So, is there any Is there any evidence that people are using these cash payments to avoid GST payments?
And this is exactly, as I said in the opening statement, we have not seen that evidence.
The Australian Taxpayers Alliance didn't know of any evidence.
The example earlier was that, you know, there's probably not a great incentive for a business that's buying some farm machinery or whatever for cash to avoid the GST because they have input and output credits. And you need to balance them together to get the true benefit. So is there any evidence that that's not working or people are stepping right outside that?
I don't think so. I don't think there's evidence that just because of cash people, there are evading taxes and evading GST. That's what audits are for, and there are laws in place to avoid this kind of thing. Businesses do have to report large cash transactions, and so with something like $10,000, they aren't going to be cheating on their taxes, and if they are, they'll get caught.
The Reserve Bank of Australia couldn't provide any evidence.
And is there any evidence as to the size of the black economy? I mean, this store of wealth, I mean, how much of that store of wealth would be, from the task force's view, black market activity?
I think it's probably better you ask Treasury and or the task force.
Oh, you raised
itself.
the task force, so I thought you might have had some view on that.
AUSTRAC, the agency that monitors transactions over $10,000, had no idea.
I'd pay $11,000 in cash now and it's completely legal. No problem. After the enaction of this bill, that will have to be, if it's to an ABN holder, that'll have to be done electronically or it will be illegal. Is that right?
That's my understanding, Senator.
Okay, so how many more transactions are you going to see? Has anybody done the snapshot of that?
That would be a question I would have to take on notice, Senator.
Well, perhaps if you could, because if you do 2.6 million, we want to know what is the size of this problem you're trying to solve.
In terms of the size of the problem, I think that's a question best directed to Treasury.
But you're going to count them.
The Australian Taxation Office couldn't tell Senator Patrick the purpose of the bill.
But in some respects, you know, we're trying to deal with the black economy, which inherently, I presume, means collection of greater taxes for consolidated revenue. Or is the purpose of the bill, in your view, to, as was suggested by the Uniting Church, to basically make life more difficult for people who are attempting to money launder or so forth, or is the purpose to gain additional revenue?
Well, I defer to my Treasury colleagues about the purpose for the bill, Senator.
So what evidence did the Black Economy Division of Treasury provide?
The black economy was basically, and a lot of the recommendations from that came from evidence from which Michael Andrew and his secretariat found while going and speaking to the communities, business organisations and other public sector agencies. And what that found was that there was a growing frustration from businesses that other businesses were using cash discounts to cut them out. So it was a competition issue. So for Michael, it was a fairness issue.
I just want to go to this business of competition. So you are saying that there have been submissions to the task force from employers saying that people using cash were undercutting them. I mean, do we know how many submissions? Do we know the level of that, or is it?
So the task force did community halls, community meetings, and that's where a majority of these came from.
So there's no sort of statistical data. It's anecdotal, is it?
It is anecdotal, and I think if you ask most people if they've been offered a lower price for cash, they potentially will say yes.
When you tell me you do a couple of town halls and people complain about cash payments, I can understand that, but I don't think that's empirical evidence.
I think it is, because it's advice from one business what they've seen in an environment which they're competing in.
How many people told you? 10?
Well, it's a task force. I can't tell. It's a 12? Task force before my time.
So we're looking for some data.
Should radical legislation that jails people for 2 years for using legal tender in transactions over $10,000 be based on anecdotal evidence? For more information, go to stopthecashban.com.au.
So there you have it. There's the piece that Robbie put together, and I think it does a great job of just highlighting that it's a joke, that it's based on anecdotal evidence from people in town halls. You know, honestly, if a business is offering afterpay and you offer to pay for the same things in cash, you should be able to negotiate a cheaper price, because then they won't have to pay 6% to afterpay. Say, knock off 3% and I'll pay you cash. That's fair. That's reasonable. That is the evidence this group would be using to restrict one of our freedoms. It's ludicrous. It's an attack on our liberties. And here is the website that they've done, hands off our cash, calling about stop the cash ban. And guys, they want you to contact your senators, join local delegates, sign and share petitions. I want you to watch the video, share it, and see if you can make it to that public hearing, everyone. And again, just to reiterate, for those wishing to attend, it's at 207 Kent Street, Sydney, at the Portside Centre. And have I shut Google Earth? No, I haven't. I'll bring Google Earth up. Just to remind everyone, let people know in the comments if you're going along. It's a good excuse. Meet up at the pub after. Meet other people who are frustrated with the government doing the cash ban. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to help us produce more content, we have a Patreon where you can make a monthly donation. We also have the ability for you to join the channel here on YouTube. You can also support us via our affiliate links. We have one with Independent Reserve for crypto traders, Amazon and eBay for all of your consumer purchases. We sell our very own merch here on the HeiseSays website. You can check it out. All the links are below. And finally, we have PayPal if you want to make a contribution that way. Every bit helps. We really appreciate it. And guys, good luck. Let me know if you're going to rock up there, and I'll try and work on the wife if I can get a day pass. Maybe I'll need to get one of the grandparents to take care of the kids and make it a date going interstate. That could be the way to do it. That probably would be the only angle I could take. Anyway, guys, take care, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.